Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for this Tuesday, August 21. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. As the dry spell continues, residents in several communities in St. Elizabeth are appealing to the National Water Commission (NWC) and the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation to truck water to them. Details in this report.
Several communities on the southern section of St. Elizabeth are now without water. This is due to reduced rainfall, which has left many of NWC's storage facilities with dwindling water supplies. The issue has been compounded by revelations that the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation and the NWC do not have adequate trucks to deliver water to residents. In June, the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation passed a resolution seeking $10 million from the local government ministry to truck water to affected communities. Councillor for the Myersville Division, Leighton Smith, told TVJ News that the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation has received the money. However, Councillor Smith asserts that the corporation has not met all the criteria for trucking water as set out by local government minister Desmond McKenzie.
The minister is now saying that not 1 ounce of water can leave out of the parish council unless the truck is sanitized and certified. So therefore, the $7 million is now at the St. Elizabeth Municipal Corporation for over 3-4 weeks, and we cannot truck a load of water into the communities. People out there are dying. It's soon and very soon, people will be dropping down.
Councillor Smith is calling for an immediate intervention.
There's absolutely no water in the Myersville Division. And I'm talking also on behalf of some other councillors who are having the same concern. And the minister have to come forward and put something in place to correct this.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Former Permanent Secretary in the Education Ministry, Elaine Foster Allen, is calling for greater focus on educating children. Addressing teachers yesterday at the 54th conference of the Jamaica Teachers Association, she noted that lessons need to be tailored. That, she says, is needed to deal with the diverse background of students in the educational system.
The provision of curriculum frameworks and syllabi should be devised, giving groups of locally based teachers the challenge and resources to plan the curriculum, work plans and lesson plans to suit their individual cluster of schools or schools.
In the meantime, she says there are serious questions in relation to the request for values, attitudes and morals to be taught in schools.
The following questions need to be answered, and I quote, if teachers are being set up as the panacea for problems that have been hitherto intractable, what are the implications when students fail to learn? Teachers cannot be left as the sole purveyors of values and attitudes. Values are taught and they are caught from parents, church leaders, government, private sector leaders, anybody and everybody.
There will be no lifting of duties on the importation of coffee. That's the stance taken by Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw, as he says local coffee companies are abandoning their fields. He says what is being practiced now by those companies is unacceptable. Mr. Shaw noted that local coffee farmers will have to bear the brunt of the losses when the companies import coffee beans.
I'm using this forum to send out a warning to all of those people who are in the coffee business. Some of them call themselves the Exporters Association. But they ought to be more properly referred to as the Importers Association, because they are importing most of their raw material now. While there are coffee farmers in the Blue Mountains right now who are trying to sell their coffee and can't sell it. That can't work. What we have to do is to find the appropriate formula to ensure that we rebuild that industry for our country and for our farmers.
Meanwhile, Minister Shaw said there will be a review of the policy which governs the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority. Details from TVJ's Shane Masters.
Concerns have been raised by exporters about the recent increase of a 4% cess on the exportation of certain crops. In March, Jackra had advised traders officers set on 6 crops: turmeric, ginger, pimento, coffee, cocoa, and coconut to take effect April 1, from which it would fund its operations. The rates ranged from 18 US cents to US $2.40 per kilogram, with coffee facing the highest charges. However, exporters were furious and are still fuming, as they say the move by Jackra is not good for business. Industry, Commerce and Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw commented on the issue on the weekend.
Jackra cannot be creating a disincentive to production. We cannot be that when you grow your turmeric or your ginger, Mr. Grizzle, that Jackra should be putting a 4% tax for you to export it. The tax needs to go on the imports, not the exports.
In the meantime, Mr. Shaw is calling for Jamaica to return to the heights of production.
20 years ago, we produced 400,000 boxes of High Mountain coffee. I used to help my father reap it in Shudley, where I was born and grew up. Today, we only have 20,000 boxes of High Mountain coffee. That's 5% of what we did 20 years ago. Today, we are only reaping 230,000 boxes of Blue Mountain coffee. 1/3 of what we did 20 years ago.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade has confirmed that an Italian family, Miss Christian Chakala, his Jamaican-born wife Donna Monroe, and their 9-year-old daughter Crystal, were among the 43 casualties of a collapsed bridge in Genoa, Italy on August 15. Foreign Affairs Minister Camilla Johnson-Smith has conveyed condolences to the Jamaican ambassador in Geneva. In a release this morning, Mrs. Johnson-Smith stated that the ministry has recognized that it is a tragic and traumatic incident, and it will continue to pray for all the families and the country of Italy during this difficult period. She also affirmed that although the ministry is only commenting on the matter of the family now, it has been communicating with the relatives through the ambassador as well as Jamaica's honorary consul in Rome. Mrs. Johnson-Smith added that the ministry is mindful of certain sensitivities surrounding the event and will always act in ways that are in the best interest of the families. The bodies of the 3 members of the family were among the last to be recovered yesterday from the scene of the collapsed Genoa Bridge. The lawyer representing vendors at the Constant Spring Market in St. Andrew says he will be meeting with his clients later this week to decide the next step in their row with the government. The more than 70 vendors were recently served with eviction notices from the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, giving them until September 30 to leave. The market is to be demolished to facilitate the expansion of the Constant Spring Road. The vendors protested outside the market yesterday, saying they will remain at the facility until a solution is found because they have no options. Attorney at law Bert Samuels says the meeting is expected to take place on Friday.
Whereas we recognize that there is public good for the widening of the Constant Spring Road, equally there is public good for the provision of a market for the Kingston 8 area and its adjoining communities. We therefore have decided to meet with the vendors this week and thereafter to move forward to see how we can negotiate an alternate location for this market in that community, not outside of the community, but in that community. So it is, in summary, not a legal approach necessarily, but certainly one for a social approach for vendors have families and the community needs the items and ground provisions that the market has to offer.
Efforts to contact the municipal corporation were unsuccessful. With 2 weeks left for the start of the 2018-2019 academic school year, students at the Gazeland Early Childhood Institutions and parents will have to find alternative accommodations for their children. The institution was gutted by fire on Monday morning.
When I came this morning, I saw the fire brigade, and after that the named police, they have came, and people from the community, few people from the community, they hear about it and they come over and said they don't know what is this. There's no electricity here. So it is deliberately set because of what the fire brigade men them say. Somebody would open a window and throw the fire on the bed, and then go in. The fire would go in and start spread inside. We lose bed, everything that is in the school, paperwork, everything in the school burned down. Chairs, the tile, everything inside the building has gone.
Councillor for the Leighton Division says he will be discussing the matter with Member of Parliament Franklin Witter and the Alpart Community Council to come up with ways of cleaning up the facility and providing funding to persons who have been affected. And in sports, Caitlin Chang created history by winning Jamaica's first ever fencing medal at the recently concluded CAC Games in Colombia. Details from TVJ's Denise Walters.
Another first for Jamaica as national fencer Caitlin Chang added to the nation's sporting prowess, winning Jamaica's first medal in fencing at the quadrennial CAC Games. The London-based fencer says after finishing 9th in her qualifying round, she made the decision to step up her game.
I was surprised by it as well because I sort of outperformed how I thought I would do. But I knew I had all the support behind me from my teammates, the JOA. I felt really supported, so I felt strong on the day.
Chang says the support from her family on the island helped push her to do well, and it was an honor to represent Jamaica once more.
Historic for Jamaica and for myself, and I just feel so overwhelmed that I managed to be part of history and I managed to do something so special for Jamaica, and I just feel so happy about that. I was very emotional on the podium and I felt so happy and so relieved that all my hard work had finally paid off.
Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Fencing Federation, James McBean, says he is proud of the 4-member team, which also included local-based fencer Lisa Ashman and New York-based Donovan Deans, who fought in the women and men's saber categories, respectively. McBean says the local fencing federation has come a long way in a short time, and partnerships with other organizations have made it possible.
People like the Jamaican Olympic Association, the International Fencing Federation, and of course we know the Pan American Fencing Confederation as well. And because of these organizations, they've been able to give us the moral support, the mental, the financial support that we need for our athletes to perform at this level. And what Caitlin did is just absolutely amazing. I'm very proud of that young lady.
He says once Pan American gold medalist Tia Sims-Lin returns, they will have a group of fencers to be reckoned with as they prepare for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Chang picked up silver in the women's epi final, going down 10-15 to Cuba's Cecilia Mendoza. Reporting for TVJ Sports, I am Denise Walters.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Do remember to join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.